All right, good afternoon, folks. And here it is, the Breitling Blackbird A44359. This is a watch that it's another long-term grail of mine. I've wanted this one for a long time. The one I wanted more for a while was the black steel version. The black steel version, which is very similar to this, except the case and bezel, it's all black steel and it comes on a rubber strap. But I've grown to like this one better, and it's also a lot more affordable. So I'm going to just do a kind of a first impressions video, just talk a little bit about it, show you some wrist shots, that sort of thing. This is the second Breitling I've owned. As you know, I have the silver Crosswind Racing, the Wind Rider Crosswind Racing. They look really nice together. They are nice. They're different enough to warrant having both. I'll talk a little bit more about the difference in a moment. But the Blackbird, there's always that mixture of excitement and worry when you open up the box for the first time. And I pulled it out of the box and I was just like, holy crap, this is an amazing, gorgeous watch. It is all that I hoped it would be and more. There's some qualities, but I wasn't really expecting. It feels like a step up in quality from the Crosswind Racing. It's a larger watch for one thing. I'll do a size comparison. It's not by a lot, but it's by a little bit. But let's just take a look at what it is. All right, this is one of the reasons I like this watch, and the one that I bought is that unlike a lot of Breitlings, it's got a lot of brushed metal. And actually, whereas my Crosswind Racing is all brushed, I believe, this has a nice combination of brush and polish. So you can see even right there that this part of the bezel is polished and this is more brushed. The side of the case is polished, very shiny, mirror shiny. The side of the bracelet, the links of the bracelet are brushed. Very, it's your quintessential Breitling architecture. It's really, actually this is a great watch for an architect, because Breitling just has so many cool angles and ridges and shapes, and it's really, really cool. So taking a look at it, it's got what's called a tri-compacts layout with the bi-compacts and then the third dial at the bottom. This was striking for its called the big date window. As you can see, the 12 is quite large. Maybe I can get, no, it's not going to focus in. Well, there you go. Just focus in. It's got sort of a dark matte dial. It's hard to call, I guess it is matte, but it feels more glossy because there's some nice qualities that really make it shine. You can see, let's see, you can see a little bit of the lume markers, the metal around the lume markers. This also has terrific lume, by the way. I don't think I have my little super flashlight up here. Really excellent lume. I can do another video of that some other time. See, I don't think the lamp will really do it justice now. So the bracelet is there's a couple of differences between the Crosswind Racing and the Blackbird. Well, let's compare them actually, just to get a sense. So as you can see, the most, obviously one's silver dial and one's not. Let's see if I can get it like this. And of course, the chronograph layout is different. Another big difference is the bezel. On the Crosswind Racing, as you can see, there's not numbers. There's just little. Well, there are. You know, for these parts, there's numbers. There's a 15, a 30, a 45, and then the loom pip. But along the bezel, there's no numbers. Whereas over here, you have the loom pip, but then you have east, south, and west, and then you have numbers 360 degrees around the bezel. Similar but different hands, you know. Similar but different loom markers. Of course, there's the date window. The bracelets are also a little different too. The Crosswind Racing has, if you look, see the links, they curve around, or they're like flat, and then they curve around right here. Here you have more of an angled. There's like multifaceted. Let me see if we can do it this way so you can see them. I don't want to smash them together. Yeah, now you can see it. The Crosswind Racing also is thinner. It thins out, whereas this is a little thicker. The Blackbird just feels like a more substantial watch, and I'll show you why in a moment. There's similar pushers, and we're not. There we go. These have screw down pushers and a larger crown. Very cool. I love the crown on the Blackbird. This has a similar shaped crown. It's not quite the same, a little smaller, and then they just have pushers without the screw down. Different case backs. That's the Crosswind Racing. Whereas the Blackbird, at least this version, has a the Blackbird, Breitling Blackbird logo on the back. So let me say something about the size, okay? Actually, this is smaller than I realized, because when I put this on, I was thinking, wow, this feels larger. And I measured the bezels. I was under the impression that they're both 43.7. I'm looking at BreitlingSource.com, and this says 43.7 and 121.3 grams, although it feels heavier than that. Maybe that's on a strap. So this one, the bezel itself is actually 40, but with the little, I don't even know what you call this part of the bezel. If you add this together, so the top of the screw to the bottom, the top of the other screw, that's more like 43.7. And it's the same over here. The bezel is actually 42 or 43. I think it's like 43 millimeters. But the screw is a lot. It's a lot flatter off the top of the bezel. Let's see. Can I get that? Yeah. So there's not really. It's pretty flat there. Whereas over here, it stands out. It's very subtle, but it just ends up feeling noticeably different. Not hugely so, but noticeably so. So you kind of see that. So let's take a look at a wrist shot. This is just a first impression. You'll be seeing this more and more. Oh yeah, the other thing is similar, you know, clasps. This one feels, I mean, it's a nice clasp on the Crosswind Racing. It's a little thinner. It's not like Seiko thin. This one's thicker and it's more polished, and it also has an engraved external. This like sticks out, the little Breitling logo, whereas this is just engraved. Whereas this is actually like a piece on there. Overall, the Blackbird just feels and looks like a more expensive watch. I mean, I'd even go so far as to say that right here we have the difference between a Tier 4 Breitling and a Tier 5 Breitling. I'm willing to call this a Tier 5 Breitling. Now it does, most Tier 5 watches have in-house movements. The Breitling, this is the, I believe it's the Breitling 44 movement, which is a modified ETA movement. Oh God, modified ETA, how horrible. Now you could say that for the price of this watch, I believe these retailed for about $8 grand. You should be getting something more, getting an in-house movement. As I've said on this channel, given my income level, I'm happy not having to service in-house movements. I don't really want to own an Audemars Piguet and spend $2,000 servicing it. I mean, it really is that expensive. A Breitling 44, I believe this could be serviced for a few $100s by a qualified watchmaker because it's a modified ETA. I don't know. I want to research this more. I don't know how modified it is. I don't know what it, to what degree they modify it. So I should look that up. Breitling does do in-house movements, but this one is not. This is a modified ETA. But to get back to what I was saying, there's just, this is a really nice watch. I love this watch. It's really well made. But there's just something extra about this, and it's just little things. It's the brush polish combination. It's just the solidity of the piece. It just feels like an updated, higher quality piece. It's not hugely different, but it feels like it's so refined. And it definitely does have some bling effect. In a way, I feel like Breitling is what the Invictas of the world are modeling themselves after, as far as kind of like toolish bling. So let's take a look at it on the wrist. So here you go. As you can see, it's a substantial watch. I think it fits. It's like the Crosswind Racing. It's a good size for me. I wouldn't want to go much bigger than this though. This is pretty much where I feel like I max out and it still looks good and it doesn't feel awkward. It's very comfortable. I'd say it's actually more comfortable than the Crosswind Racing. I'm not sure exactly why. I think the bracelet's better. It's less stiff or something. This one's fine, but this just feels like it feels like it's in better condition overall also. It's thicker on the wrist. The clasp is thicker. So yeah, this is a really sweet watch. And my first impression was such that I saw it and I was like, oh my god, how am I ever going to wear anything else? And that was yesterday. I still love it just as much today, but I also see how it is a specific look, and I'm going to want to mix it up with my Omegas and this other Breitling. But it really has to be considered the centerpiece of the Johnny Casual fleet of watches. I was going back and forth on this. I don't know if you remember, I had mentioned that I backed down on buying this exact watch, and then I couldn't stop checking the listing to see if it was sold or not. So I was just a little obsessed with it. I really, really wanted it. So I kept on checking the listing, and I really wanted it, and it was for a really good deal. These watches, they sell, I think, between $3,000 and $4,500, and this was solidly under $3,000. So it was a really, really good deal. I think, yeah, I got a good deal out of it, and I realized, it's going to be hard to find this. I checked the eBay history a little bit, and you could find these sometimes go for a little less than $3,000, but generally, the listings are around $4,000 or so, and generally they go in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. So it's a really, really nice piece. I don't think I ever made a video about, I think I did a driving ramble where I was going to talk about, I was wanting to get that last really big piece before I sort of just simmered down the collection and then kind of rode with it for a while. And I was thinking of either this, I was thinking of the Omega Planet Ocean, I was thinking of the Seiko Marine Master, which would have been a more affordable version. I was even thinking of a Certina Action Diver, a chronograph version, which I feel like are just too big for me. And that's pretty much it. I was also kind of starting to think about a Tudor Black Bay or Pelagos, but I don't quite like those as much. But you know, in the end, this is the one I really wanted. This is I feel like with the Planet Ocean, I do want to own a Planet Ocean someday. But I just don't absolutely love them, and I have a feeling if I got one, I'd feel differently about it. I like the Seamaster. So the Seamaster, the black dial newer chronograph was another one I've been considering. But I've just been, you know, the last couple of weeks I've been wearing the silver Breitling a lot, and I feel like I wanted to expand my Breitling collection more. I have 3 Omegas. I wanted a second Breitling, and I think I'm pretty set for Breitling for now. I think I will get another Breitling in the future, and the next Breitling I would probably get, and we're talking down the line, I don't see this happening anytime soon, but the next Breitling I would get would be a Navitimer, I think. I feel like, you know, these two in a Navitimer is a nice array of Breitlingness. Who knows? I might wear these both for a couple years and then sell them and get a Navitimer, or, you know, who knows? Who knows how things will unfold. But yeah, I wanted a second Breitling. The silver, I love this one. I love the silver. It really stands out. But because it's silver, it's very specific. And I you know, this one is just, I love the tri-compact shape. I love the big date. And it's just, it's a really amazing piece. Breitling, there's nothing quite like a Breitling. It's hard to explain it for those who don't have Breitlings, but it really is its own unique aesthetic and vibe. They really have something that no other brand has. You know, they have their own distinct aesthetic, and I really appreciate that about them. All right, well, that's a first look, first impression of the Breitling Blackbird A44 or whatever it was. I forget what the number is. Very, very happy with this piece. All right, later. Actual there's some qualities, but I wasn't really expecting. It feels like a step up in quality from the Crosswind Racing. It's a larger watch for one thing. I'll do a size comparison. It's not by a lot, but it's by a little bit. But let's just take a look at what it is. All right, this is one of the reasons I like this watch and the one that... All right, good afternoon, folks. And here it is, the Breitling Blackbird A44359. This is a watch that it's another long-term grail of mine. I've wanted this one for a long time. The one I wanted more for a while was the Blackbird. You know, there's always that mixture of excitement and worry when you open up the box for the first time. And I pulled it out of the box and I was just like, holy crap, this is an amazing, gorgeous watch. It is all that I hoped it would be and more. And it was, this is the second Breitling I've owned. As you know, I have the silver Crosswind Racing, the Wind Rider Crosswind Racing. They look really nice together. They are nice. They're different enough to warrant having both. I'll talk a little bit more about the difference in a moment. But the black steel version, which is very similar to this, except the case and bezel, it's all black steel and it comes on a rubber strap. But I've grown to like this one better, and it's also a lot more affordable. So I'm going to just do a kind of a first impressions video, just talk a little bit about it, show you some wrist shots, that sort of thing.